Interesting bit on the 6 songs today, so let's just get into it. We start with For You Blue, which was technically a number one hit. Um, it was almost certainly intended to be the B side of what was actually is and is widely considered to be the Beatles' last number one hit. But the single did not designate an A and B side, so For You Blue was technically credited as being their 20 as part of their 20th number one single, and 22nd of the songs that topped the Billboard Hot 100. But and then it's a nice little song with George singing lead. He wrote the song, and John Lennon on lap steel guitar. Fun little song, but definitely not what got the single to number one. From there, we have From Me to You, which was actually a number one hit in the UK, but in the US, it didn't even crack the top 40. It peaked at number 41 on the Hot 100. Kind of interesting, and it was during that first initial push of Beatlemania. So interesting that it fared so much better in the UK than in the US. It's a decent little song. It's not the greatest, but it's a fun early song. And then from there, we get into two versions of Get Back. People don't realize there's actually two versions. The first released as a single in anticipation of the Get Back album being released, which was shelved, of course, and then became Let It Be. The first one is the one that people tend to be more familiar with the little coda at the end, and Paul's little, kind of lascivious little, her high-heeled shoes and her low-neck sweater. The second of which was the one that's actually featured on the Let It Be album, where they don't have the coda, but they do have some audio at the beginning and end from the rooftop concert. Kind of famously, Paul thanking Maureen Starkey, Ringo's first wife, who, from what I've heard, was a really sweet woman and definitely a big cheerleader for the band. So I kind of like this second version, but I think both versions are great. And of course, the original singles version was another one of their number one hits. So we get two number one hits, and actually, in some ways, three number one hits in this bundle of 6 songs. The other ones, of course, which I'll get to, not actually released as singles. The first of which is "Getting Better" from Sgt. Pepper, another one of those songs that people tend not to know because they've heard of Sgt. Pepper, but they've never actually heard all the music. Fun little song, just a song of positivity and happiness, and definitely has some problematic lyrics in the bridge where Paul's talking about beating his woman. That's a little cringy, but hey. And then finally we have Girl, which I always thought was this big hit because it did get a lot of play on the oldie station in my hometown, but actually wasn't even released as a single and did not make the Hot 100. But a song that people seem to know